Have you ever found yourself wondering about the predator, its home world, its culture, its family structures, any of these kinds of questions? Well, if you have, you're in luck, because now we have the movie Predator Badlands to try to answer some of these questions and more. Join me today as we talk about it. This is the Geek of All channel. If you've not been here before, my name is Bobbie, and today we're going to talk about the movie Predator Badlands, which I managed to watch the other day. So, I'm going to have spoilers, but I'm going to tell you when we get there. Because I have comments in the pre-spoiler section here, and just in case people just want an overview, because it's still in theaters, so. Alright. There are only 2 stars worth mentioning in this movie, because there are very few speaking parts, and most of them are just randos here and there. So we have Elle Fanning, who plays both Thea and Tessa, who are robots. I'll tell you a little bit more about them in the spoiler section. She has been in a number of other movies. The ones that stood out to me were Super 8 and Maleficent. She's Dakota Fanning's sister, in case you thought it was just a coincidence. And then we have, and I apologize beforehand because I'm probably going to horribly butcher this name. As the Predator, we have Demetrius Schuster Kaloa Matanagi. Okay. And like I said, he is the Predator, the main Predator. There's a couple others. So, comments before we get to the spoilers. One, yes, the movie is PG-13. Now, it achieves this in a way similar to how Alien vs. Predator did, where the violence is directed towards non-humans. So, while there is gore, there's numerous kills and all kinds of things like this, it's not human beings that are being butchered. So the Academy, it's not the Academy, who is it? The Motion Picture Association of America, the MPAA, doesn't take the same view when it comes to non-humans. So there is violence, there is gore. Now, it is not at the level of, say, the first or second Predator movie. I'm going to tell you that right now. And so if that's going to, just throwing it out there, if that's the deal breaker for you, then so be it. I was curious, and I assumed this was how it was going to be. So, with that in mind, it does have other implications. It does restrict the language, for instance, because the first and second movie would have gotten there based purely on language, but as far as an R rating. So, that is something to consider. Now, some other things to consider are that this movie takes place in the future. It is not contemporary like like all 4 of the Predator movies are. I haven't watched Prey, so I know it's in the past, but the other 4 are all contemporary, roughly. In fact, Alien vs. Predator 1 and 2 are also contemporary. This takes place in the time frame of the Alien franchise, and I know this because of events in the movie. Speaking of, that's something else to note, that this movie completely embraces the combining of the Alien Predator franchises, whereas the Alien franchise seems to have not really gone down that road. Nothing excludes that, but so far nothing really includes that either, so we'll see. The director who directed this movie has said that he wants to make a new Alien vs. Predator movie, which would presumably actually be canon as opposed to the 2 that we have right now, which are not considered canon. At least the Alien franchise. I think they are to the Predator franchise, which is a weird situation to be in. So, some other notes. The Predator's got a bunch of new weapons that you haven't seen before. A couple we have seen before, like the shoulder cannon. A lot of the weapons are like energy plasma-based weapons. So they burn and cut through things like that. That is different from like Predator 1 and 2, where yes, he has the shoulder cannon, but a lot of the other weapons are bladed weapons. they don't instantly cauterize the wound. You know, they slice and dice. So that's a difference. Then visually, I thought the movie looked really nice. The different alien landscapes, you know, there's definitely some work put into them. The various alien creatures, you know, there's a lot of bizarre alien life. Not the alien, there's no xenomorphs. But yeah, so there was definitely some thought put into some of those creatures, and yeah. So a lot of the movie has subtitles because the Predator doesn't speak English. Speaks its own native language. One of the characters is a robot and initiates its universal translator so that it hears the Predator's language in a way that it can understand, and the Predator hears it speaking in its language. What this really means is, for the audience, the Predator keeps speaking its language with subtitles, and so the character speaks in English. So, overall, I would say the movie is probably a 6.5, 7, somewhere in there. I don't think it's quite as good as the first two Predator movies. I thought it was probably better than the fourth Predator movie, but I thought that movie had some serious issues. That's when I also seen the third one, so it's kind of hard to compare. And I've just seen this one the one time, so I know there's a little bit of recency bias here. But you know, overall, it was decent. There's some levity, and it's not like Marvel movie levity where it completely destroys any kind of drama or anything. You know, the levity hits, you know, in places where it's appropriate. I think the Predator even cracks a joke at one point, but or at least it's implied that it was meant as a joke. So, but yeah, overall, I think the movie's worth a watch if you like the Predator franchise. But it is very different from the other movies in the franchise. Because in all the others, the Predators are either the villain or are neutral, and like a bigger, badder version of the Predator is the villain. So to go from that to the Predator's our main point of view character is definitely a different tone. Is definitely a tonal shift. Some things happen that get us on the Predator side, and like I said, because of the PG-13 rating, like, he doesn't go after humans, so we don't have that inborn, like, oh, he's hunting us, screw that guy, you know, reaction that we have to the other movies. So yeah, I mean, it's different. And I before getting spoilers, I can't say a whole lot more about that. Yeah, that's probably about as far as I can really go without talking about spoilers. So we're going to get to those here in a moment. If you're choosing to check out now, thank you for watching. Appreciate it if you like, share, subscribe, any of that fun stuff. And sharing and commenting helps grow the channel. I always appreciate it. But anyway, now we're going to talk about the spoilers. So, you've been warned. Now we're going for it. So our main character, Deck is his name. He is basically like the runt of the litter. He's literally smaller than the other Predators. And so his dad tells his brother to kill him because they're worried about, you know, superiority and everything. So I'm assuming this is between the clans, and it would appear to be weakness to spare him. But his brother wants to give him the chance to go on a big hunt to prove his worth. So he saves him, and his dad ends up killing his brother. And he takes off to go after this creature that's supposedly unkillable, that even his dad fears it. And so he goes to the planet where it is, and he's not there very long before he runs into the upper half of a Weyland-Yutani robot, Thea. And she helps him, so he takes her along for the ride, and to try to find her other half, figuratively and literally, like the other cyborg, the other robot, Tessa, who's like her like counterpoint, but also her lower half, her legs. And so along the way they encounter various very deadly creatures because it's the death world. And Weyland-Yutani is also there to capture this creature because it's basically unkillable and has massive regenerative capabilities. So all the Weyland-Yutani personnel there are synthetics. So even though, so at the end, Dec goes on a pretty good killing spree, but they're all synths, so they're not technically human. So they don't die the same way as humans. They don't have a bunch of blood and organs and everything flying around everywhere. It's just the white stuff that's inside of them. Although most of them just get blown up or decapitated. So you got that kind of stuff going on, but most of the violence is against various creatures. And like I said, the Predator's weapons are more like plasma. Like he's got like a sword that's like a plasma sword. His bow and arrow is like a laser bow and arrow for some reason. And then he does have some bladed weapons. There's a number from the other movies we don't see. Like we don't see the net launcher from Predator 2. We don't see a lot of use of the shoulder cannon. That's actually Tessa gets a hold of one from aboard the Predator ship. So that's the other thing is once Weyland-Yutani realizes that there's a Predator there, they also want it captured and as much of its technology as they can get their hands on because they know they exist. They even know the actual name of their species, which is Yautja. I don't remember if it's A or UATJA, and which that comes from the comics. So, and I don't know if this is the first movie to actually canonize that because I haven't watched Prey, but I don't believe the other 4 actually mention the name. So it was nice to see it actually canonized here. And Weyland-Yutani seems to know a lot about them, about their culture and their clan structures and things like that. So they've definitely had run-ins with them, or they've dealt with other aliens that told them about them. So basically, he's here to kill this unkillable creature and bring it back as a trophy to shove it in his father's face, for killing his brother and everything. And he, along the way, and I made this observation to my friend I was watching it with, Chris, that it really seemed like we were barreling towards the Predator's going to learn the power of friendship kind of moment, and that is kind of what happens. I'm not going to lie. It was elements of towards the end of the movie basically seem like they came out of an episode of the Care Bears. I'm not saying it's bad, but you can see it coming, and then it happens, and so there comes a point where Weyland-Yutani has Dec captured. They've got Thea. They're going to just decommission her because she's dead weight now, and they also have the unkillable creature. So Dec manages to escape, and it has to go like ultra low tech, and so it's basically really similar to the end of the first Predator movie. Only now the Predator is in Arnold's position, where it's going up against a foe in Weyland-Yutani that has considerable technology. They've got the numbers, they've got weapons, and so the Predator has to use what he's got on hands. He's got to make like a bone blade for his wrist, and takes an animal skull to make a new faceplate, and bone armor, and gets a creature that spits like some acid stuff to basically act like a shoulder cannon to spit acid, things like that. So he had to go low tech like Arnold did in the first movie against the Predator. Only here it's against Weyland-Yutani because they found his ship and took most of the weapons out of it. So that was an interesting inversion. And then he has to fight the gigantic power lifter that's like the one from Aliens but on steroids, which again is kind of borrowing concepts from some of the other movies. Here it's the Alien franchise, but it's different because again the lifter is quite a bit larger, definitely a different model, quite a bit bulkier, and has some other attachments on it like a big buzzsaw blade and things like that. So the robot tries to make Dec realize what was the line? Oh, Dec, I believe, tells her something to the effect of, "You should be able to survive alone." And she's like, "I can survive alone, but who would want to do that?" And she explains she explains a wolf from Earth and the alpha and everything, and explains that they hunt as a pack. That they're far more effective as a group, and part of the alpha's job is to protect the other members of the group. So she finally gets through to him, and they kind of wrap everything up and head back to the Predator homeworld to go deal with his father. And he gets there and ends up fighting his dad. First kills, I think, 2 more of his brothers, and then fights his dad and is able to use everything to his advantage. And he gets his dad pinned, and he's already locked one of his arms off. And his dad's like, well, if you surrender now, like, you can join the clan. He's like, and I think he tells him maybe the right son did survive. And that's what Deck's like, I have my own clan. You see the other people come out of the ship, and he decapitates his dad. So he picks up the cloaking device his dad has and puts it into his. And that's basically where the movie tries to end. And if you go watch it in theaters or whatever, you stick around for like 2 minutes, and then there's a scene in the credits. It cuts right back to where things were. All the members of the clan are pulling their swords and everything. And then another ship pops up over the horizon. And the girl, Thea, the robot, is like, I think she asks, is that another clan or another enemy? And he's like, no, it's my mother. And that's where the movie ends right there. There's no post-credit scene after that. So, yeah, like I said, you stuck around here for the spoilers, then I explained as far as they're mostly synthetics, well, they're all synthetics, and animals, so that's how he can just go on an endless murder spree, but not have the R rating, because there's no gore, and all the violence is against non-human entities. The new weapons are neat. They do seem to be a major leap forward from what was in the other movies, but this is also like 200 years later. So, and again, it's bizarre that the Predator franchise just totally embraces the Alien versus Predator concept, but Aliens is kind of like, we'll get back to you. So, it'll be interesting to see where all that goes in future entries. So, but yeah, overall, I like the movie. Like I said, it's probably 6.5, somewhere in there. I think it is worth watching if you like the other movies. It is different. Don't expect just to rehash the other movies, but there's definitely some intricacies. And yes, there is a little bit of the whole, like, teamwork makes the dream work, baloney at the end. So anyway, overall, I think it's a decent movie. I'm interested to see what this guy does, if he does get his Alien vs. Predator movie off the ground. So, and if he makes another Predator movie, I'll go watch it too. So that's about all I've got for this one. So let me know down in the comments if you've seen this one already, or if you plan to go watch it. Does it sound good? Does it sound preposterous? Have you seen ads elsewhere that make you feel one way or the other about it? Anything at all like that. Let me know down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Sharing, commenting, help us grow the channel. And thank you everyone who helped us get over 625 subscribers recently. We're barreling ever forward, and we literally couldn't do it without you folks. So thank you from me and everyone else around the channel. But yeah, that's about all I've got for this one. So,
get to the chopper!